Broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
This is Dr. Bradley Nelson, author of The Emotion Code, How to Release Your Trapped Emotions for Abundant Health, Love, and Happiness. You're listening to Justin and Kate on Extreme Health Radio. For more information about The Emotion Code, visit ExtremeHealthRadio.com/Emotion Code.
What's that?
There's over lots of food.
It's got my own bone broth here. I can't start the show because I'm sipping bone broth. It's too good.
You and me and the bone broth.
My goodness.
And Maggie.
I had quite a little healing morning.
Did you?
I tried the colostrum on an empty stomach like Dr. Massey talks about.
Shoot! That's what I was going to do this
Were you going to do that?
I forgot.
Have you eaten any food yet?
No.
Well, there you go.
Just bone broth.
There you go. You could still do it.
Yeah, no, that's true, I guess. I just wanted to do it before I even had anything in my tummy.
You know what I heard? I read an article recently yesterday that's really good is you could put, you know, the Great Lakes gelatin that you and I were talking about?
Love that stuff.
In fact, we should bring up that article from Dr. Axe.
Oh, yeah.
I want to learn more about that collagen.
I'm on it.
.com.
.com.
But I was reading an article that you could put the Great Lakes gelatin into your bone broth to increase the gelatin. What do you think of that?
I think that's funny. I'll bring up the Dr. Axe article after we get going because he does talk about a lot about the healing power of bone broth and the collagen, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yes.
Gelatin, collagen. We'll get into this.
We'll dive deep.
Break down.
Dive deep, like what's his name from Infinite Waters? You ever see those YouTube videos?
Infinite. You mean that really inspirational guy?
Yeah,
what is his name?
The black guy from. Looks like he's from
that guy's
London.
Awesome. Yeah.
Diving deep.
Yeah, what is his name? He's cool.
Oh man, I don't know what his name is. He's great though. Pretty cool guy. Well, I should introduce the show. This is episode 352. Is that correct?
You are on it.
OnIt.com, and we have tons of really great information here for you today. Lots to talk about. We haven't been on the show for about a week, right? Since Monday? Is that right?
Yeah.
Monday.
Susan Smith-Jones.
Yes.
That actually seems like a lifetime ago.
Doesn't it?
Yep.
Hey, what did you think? We're talking in the chat room before the show. I was talking with guest 5560 or 5590, I should say. I want to make sure I get these numbers correct. 5590 about the remember what Susan Smith-Jones was talking about, the hot water and the hot liquids causing some sort of cancer issue? I'd like to see those studies about that. Remember that?
Yeah, I do remember that.
I mean, was she talking about something that was like scalding hot that was going to really burn your stomach or your throat, or what was that? Because I find, like I was saying in the chat room before we came on, I find like this bone broth, like this morning I had some coconut water and the survival colostrum on an empty stomach.
Did you warm it up, or you had it cold or room temp, or what?
Well, the coconut water was in the fridge, so it was cold, and then the colostrum kind of made it a little bit warmer. But Dr. Massey talks about that, and Meridian Grace, and a lot of other people talk about doing colostrum on an empty stomach to build your immune system and to heal your gut, the inside lining of your gut, because it's nature's first food. And so I did that, and it was great, and it was awesome. But I just find that I'm sipping this warm, hot bone broth, and it's just so good. I feel like instantly I just
gravitate toward that.
I'm all over it. Yeah,
I know. There's something about this. I have to tell you, this particular batch turned out extra tasty, didn't it? Mm-hmm. I think it's because I boiled it for a lot longer. I boiled it on the stove top in a ceramic pot, and then I transferred it after maybe 3 or 4 hours to the crock pot, the slow cooker.
Okay.
And continued to slow cook the bones for another long time.
So how long was the total duration that you cooked it?
Not as long as I'd like, but probably 7-8 hours.
Okay. Wow.
It just tastes so good. It just brought out all this really good collagen type fats and
So allegedly you can't do, or you don't do well with apple cider vinegar, right? Because of what?
Allegedly, it's
It's not good for you?
No, yeah, I don't do well with fermented foods, vinegars, that kind of thing. They upset me with the sulfites.
But it's okay in the bone broth.
Yeah,
you seem to do really well with the bone broth.
Yeah, I do. And so I'm just sticking with it. I don't care if it's something that supposedly it's on my no-no list. I do well. I just put in like a couple tablespoons of that Bragg's apple cider vinegar, and it really does, from what we've researched and what I find to be true, pulls out a lot of the good stuff out of the bone, helps draw out more nutrients into the broth.
That's what I hear too, yeah. Yeah.
So how do you like the colostrum?
I loved it. It was I've added it a couple times since we've had it to our smoothies or to the smoothies I make, but what I really love about it is when you mix it just with like coconut water. It's amazing because you blend it up in the Vitamix and it tastes just like milk.
Does it?
That's really good.
I've only dipped my finger in it and tasted it the other day because I was just wanting to wait and kind of have my stomach settle back down and try it kind of by itself to really see how I did with it.
Yeah.
Does it get smooth or does it like kind of clot?
I thought it would clot because I heard it did, but when I blended it in the Vitamix, I just turn on high for a couple seconds and I blend it up, and the sweetness of the coconut milk is almost similar to like the lactose in milk.
Yum.
And so it kind of, and the colostrum's not sweet at all, so it balances out and it just tastes like this really nice milk.
Ooh.
It's really good.
It doesn't creep you out. It's not too dairy, like to where it's like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm drinking like full fat cow's milk or anything.
No.
Okay, because I don't like that full like dairy.
We should try it.
Yeah, I'll try it. I'll try it at the break.
Yeah, try it at the break.
I'll let my broth go through, and then I'll try that on an empty stomach as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited because the more and more we seem to check it out and hear about what colostrum does for the gut. It goes against everything I've ever thought to be true about healing your gut with dairy, but apparently it's like the most non-dairy dairy, right?
Yeah. If you go over to Daniel Vitalis' site, actually, if you go through our link, extremehealthradio.com/colostrum, COLOSTRUM, I think, colostrum, you can find out there's a video on that page, and an interview where he talks about it, and he talks about the immune modulation that's in the growth compounds and the full fats and the grass-fed cows and all this really great healing stuff for that's in the colostrum. So I thought, you know what, this is awesome stuff, and I've taken it before. I love it.
Yeah.
And
you want to get back on it though. I have to tell you, it's not cheap.
No.
Not cheap, but is anything that is worth it, I'm realizing.
Right. I know, right?
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
You pay now, you pay later, right?
That's right. Some 5590 says in the chat room, have you heard of this man, Gary Thibault?
Gary Thibault?
Thibault. Is that how you say that? I
think so.
Like T-Bow, like the football player?
Thibault. Yeah, Thibault. Whatever
Tim Thibault.
Tim Thibault.
Is that his name?
Thibault.
Yeah. Yeah, I have heard of this guy, and that Free Living 101 looks really interesting. That's Marcus Rothkran's product. If you go over there and watch that stuff. So
you've heard of him before?
Yeah.
Free Living 101.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah,
there's so much to like, at the end of our chats, of our chat room, especially on Friday shows, so many amazing people post all these awesome links, and I click on them so I have them all up for later. It takes me so long. That's why my computer shut down the other day. It stopped working because I had too many tabs open.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's all these tabs that I want to like save and watch later, and half of them I get to, half of them I just I want to, but I don't have time. But there's so much good information out there. There's so much stuff to kind of... if everything was done in 3 minutes, no problem. But it's like some of these videos are like an hour, hour and a half, and I want time for them all. But
I know
it's just not the reality right now.
It's almost like information overload.
Kind of is.
In 2014, it's amazing how much information is out there, and it's just a matter of managing that information in your life, because we're getting it from so many different places, whether it's health or anything that you're into.
Yeah.
It's like you're bombarded. It's pretty cool. I like it because at least you have control. It's so crazy. Think about what it used to be like in the 80s. There was just no ability to share information. There's no ability to share any kind of information really about anything.
Gosh, you're right.
I mean, think about it. Like you would have to call your friend on the phone or see your friend in person to tell them about a really cool article that you saw, and you would never have seen that article on the computer.
Or write them a letter.
Yeah, you would have written them a letter.
Clip it out of a Time magazine and send it to someone. Yeah.
That's so weird.
Thank you for that, because I think I get so frustrated with everything that's happening, and we think the world's all going to hell in a handcart and stuff. But gosh, you're right. When you think about that, think about the life-changing information that this gives people and allows people to have access to. It's incredible. You're right. That's absolutely incredible. I would have had all these digestive/stomach issues, I'm sure, and not known what the heck to do about any of them. I would have been at some library or just gone to a doctor and, kind of do my own little quote research, and then, probably get some magazines sent to me and things. And then that's kind of it. I mean, and then you're on your own, but you feel like the world's just at your fingertips.
It's so cool.
You can find forums talking about digestion. You can find anything. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really cool. The ability that we have at our fingertips to research information so quickly and really on the fly, because most people have cell phones and they have Google on their phone and they could just research something really quickly.
Really dang amazing.
It's really mind-blowing. It's when communication is instant, anything is possible.
Yeah.
Anything. Because when you can communicate some sort of information to someone halfway around the world in instant time, when the average person can do that, anything is possible. It's crazy. Literally anything is possible these days.
Yeah. It's just getting creative with it.
Yeah, that's cool. I saw a... Do you know who Dr. Frank Schallenberger is?
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, he took over the Second Opinion newsletter from... What was the name of our guest who was up in... Dr. Rowan.
Oh, yeah.
He's been on our show.
Dr. Robert Rowan.
Yeah. And he has a Second Opinion health alert, and I did this before the show. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, tell me.
But I didn't find the information applicable to me because our age group isn't on the actual breakdown, because it says this is a home test to determine your real age.
Huh.
And,
really?
Yeah. And one of the most important things you can do for your body is to test to see how well it's functioning. If it functions great, that's good. If it doesn't, it's time to take action. And so he talks about a sitting test. The SRT is a simple test you can do at home to assess your risk of dying. That's always fun, huh?
That's always good.
Assess your risk of dying. This test is easy to do at home, and your score will show you how likely you are to die within 6 years.
What?
A perfect score is 10 out of 10, which I didn't understand that after I did the test.
Okay.
And every point that you were below 8, the number 8, your risk of dying over the next 6 years increases by an amazing 21%. So today I want to tell you about another test you can do at home to see how well you stack. It's called the 30-second chair test. If you didn't figure it out already, you need a chair to do this and a stopwatch.
Okay.
So you sit like you are in the chair right now and put both hands over your chest, or you cross them over your shoulders.
Okay.
And
do you hold on to your shoulders, the opposite shoulders?
It doesn't really matter. I think it's just there, and you sort of sit at the edge of your chair so you can get up really easily.
Okay.
Maybe you'll have to do this during the break.
Okay.
But you get up, you stand up, and you sit back down, and you do that as fast as you can, as many times as you can for 30 seconds.
Okay.
And
oh no.
And apparently that tells you I was able to do it 23 times.
Well, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Is that really bad?
No, that's pretty good.
You did pretty good?
But
so you're not dying in the next 8 years?
It doesn't look like it. I think people are going to be stuck with me here. 60 to 64 is the lowest age bracket, though. That's the issue with this.
Okay.
So we're not 64 or 60.
Okay.
But between ages 60 and 64, you want to be to the level of a man that you could do 14 of these, and 12 if you're a woman.
Oh, 12. Oh, okay.
So that seems very low.
Pretty doable.
90 to 94, you want to be able to do 4 of them if you're between 90 and 94 and you're a woman.
Okay.
I don't know what this has to do with, it's some sort of, it's from the CDC, I think.
Okay. Do you have a link to that they're asking in the chat room?
Yeah. Let me see if I can find that. It's really simple. And I was able to do 30 of these things.
Okay.
I'm
going to do it at the break.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's funny. I got kind of out of breath.
Okay.
Because I was really trying to power it, I was trying to do a lot of them.
Okay. Well, sure, you were trying to not die in 6 years.
Yeah, I was doing my
You were
best.
wanting to make sure you weren't going to die.
I just shared it with the chat room. The good people in there.
Thank you.
So it's from the CDC.
Okay.
Interesting little thing. So if you're out of breath, then that will show you then that you have to increase your cardiovascular strength, right? If you're unable to do it fast, then that's showing that you have slow muscle twitch fibers. Your reaction time is not good, so you can work on that in the gym.
Okay.
Or if your balance is not good, you can work on that in the gym. And if your legs get tired, then that shows you that you need to work out your legs.
Okay.
So I just made all that up, but that's kind of what I'm thinking.
That's what you're kind of taken away from it?
Yeah, pretty cool.
Well, I know for a fact that I got some work to do.
How many think you could do?
Well, I think I can do quite a few, but...
If I did 23, you could do at least 20, right?
You think? In 30 seconds?
Yeah, you stand for work.
I stand for work, but part of me is I feel so embarrassed and out of shape because I've just completely dropped the ball on going to the gym and going to yoga. All I've been doing the last few months is just walking Maggie 3 times a day.
That's good, though.
And it's good. I get my cardio up, and I feel like I get, we walk up a big hill to the beach, and I get that, but I'm feeling like the worst shape of I feel like a slug. Like, really? I have no muscle tone. Starting to kind of bum out a little, so during this break, I know I need to get back into
like those people,
strengthening.
They call them skinny fat people.
Oh, I probably am a skinny fat person. I probably am.
Nah.
No, but I don't. It's so funny when you're at your peak conditioning. I was really feeling that way when I was like a year into yoga. I mean, I was like unstoppable. I had so much strength, and I don't have any strength usually in my arms. And now they're just like noodles again. Like, I don't have any tonality. It's fine. You can always go back, but I think I've really needed this time to just be gentle and just let myself heal up a bit.
Yeah.
There's a time for that too. But now I'm feeling like, okay, Kate, like I'm feeling the effects of not doing it. So I know it's time to get back.
Because you've been going through this big health crisis where you're trying to, you've been blogging about it a lot, but you've been going through this. And so
major
if you're not feeling good with your digestion, it's hard to get the motivation to work out. And sometimes you have to fix one before you can sort of fix the other.
That's how I feel. It seems so strange that you would be unmotivated to go to yoga when you're feeling bloated. It's so weird. It really is like the second brain. It's something that it saps all the energy and motivation and desire from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I heard about that movie Yoga Woman, that DVD, and I'm super excited to kind of have it. I need inspiration, and that's one of those movies that I watched the trailer. It's been out for a couple of years, but I want to watch that to help inspire me to get back. I get really affected by movies and
like documentaries
and
so
stuff like that. So I know the minute I watch it, I'm going to be like, okay, no more.
Do you think that would be on Gaim, or is that like a Netflix thing?
I looked it up on Gaim. It wasn't. I'm sure it's Netflix, and it's also just, on Amazon for purchase. And I think I want to buy it because
the Yoga Woman.
It's called Yoga Woman.
Is it about a woman that just takes on the practice, or a teacher that?
I think it's I think that actress, is it Annette Bening or somebody, is in it? Mm-hmm. But from the trailer, it looks like it follows the journey of a lot of just women in the power of yoga in their lives. But she might be like the main character. I don't know if she's interviewing people or if it's like part acting. I'm not quite sure. But man, did it look good. Just watching the 2-minute trailer made me want to go back to yoga. So, hey, any little thing that gets you motivated, I'll tell you, it's worth, $18.99 or whatever that costs on Amazon.
I love yoga, and I haven't done it in so long. And I think the biggest thing I liked about it, more than the stretching aspect, was the calming. I love how calm and how fluid you feel, especially when you're doing hot yoga. I love the hot yoga, but and then the strength part of it too, I find to be it's really challenging, and I dislike it during the time that we're doing it because it's really hard to hold those poses. It's really hard. But you feel just so good. It's unlike any other feeling that you can do. Right. That you can experience, because it's not a massage, but it's not running, but it's not weightlifting, but it's not like a float session either, because you're really relaxed, but it's a kind of a small combination of all that stuff, which is... I feel like when I get out of the float tank, I feel like I just did all those things without doing anything. That's how I feel. Mm-hmm. It's the weirdest feeling to me. Yeah, I feel like I just got out of a really killer... hour-long massage mixed with a yoga workout. It's bizarre. And a meditation, too. Yeah, right? Yeah, it's really amazing. It's weird. It's totally weird. Hey, so you saw, speaking of documentaries, you saw a documentary this week. I think, what did I do? I went somewhere, right? And you sat in the sauna and watched a documentary on the hair industry?
Oh my
gosh. Killer Hair or something. What's it called?
Lethal Beauty.
Lethal Beauty.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. That was on Gaiam. Oh
that's
man.
always. You know, I was gonna make fun of you for watching it as you're a hairstylist, but to give you credit, you are quitting your job.
Well, that is, yes.
So
I will delve into that subject a little later too, because it's really exciting to me.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, I was sitting in the sauna, feeling like
hey, I'm sweating.
Mentally, the chemicals were leaving my body. But yeah it was. It could have gone way deeper. It was kind of a surface documentary, but still enough to scare the hell out of you. Like,
really?
Oh yeah. And it wasn't just they had this one woman interviewed on it who's had 4 different types of cancers. I think she's Canadian, and she was a hairdresser to the stars for years and years.
Wow.
Kind of like Anthony Morocco, how he did all those movie stars and stuff. Yeah. And this woman got diagnosed with so many different kinds of cancers. Finally, she's just like, I know it was all of the perms and chemicals and hair dyes and stuff. She really relates it directly to that. Who knows? But
right.
they go into these... apparently there's the three toxic combo with nail salons. There's 3 ingredients in nail polish that's apparently when they're all put together is just super, super, super toxic.
Do you mean it's like 3 different ingredients they typically put together, or these 3 ingredients make up this product that they sometimes use?
No, they typically in every nail color, it's the toxic 3. So actually OPI, one of the biggest makers of nail polish and women's, beauty, had to pull a bunch and recalibrate their formulas a little. I think the scariest part about the documentary was that California and a lot of the U.S., they're not required to label their stuff. They can hide under so many things. Like you could put the word perfume into a shampoo, and they don't have to break down what makes that, what that chemical combination is to make that scent.
Whoa.
In Canada, apparently, what's it called? Health Canada is a little bit better. They passed this thing where, the labeling laws are a little bit stricter. But the woman that was being interviewed said there's, 2,200 new products a year being released onto the beauty market. They're not going to be able to be up on all those. So they try, and they're a little bit better than, California and certainly America, but it's still just really toxic. And I've been in a place where I know I need to be done for years, and it's really hard when you know, and yet you keep choosing to do it because either financial reasons or you're afraid, or, it's been such a big safety net for me. And, I've been a huge part of keeping us floating when we've decided to jump off the cliff with Extreme Health Radio, and it's like you're just giving it up and going. And I feel like every time I might even have these little inklings of doubt that I'm doing the right thing, because my plan right now is to the end of the year pretty much wrap it up. And I kind of get what I need. Like, I feel like God throws me a bone, It's like I watch a documentary like that, or, every other week it seems like something on Yahoo comes up about some beauty chemical, either, out to kill you, or high levels of some toxin found in hairdressers or beauty industries, workers' blood.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's really good for me to...
God's going to speak through me right now.
Okay, what's God have to say?
God tells you that illegal cancer-causing chemicals found in nearly 100 shampoo brands. This is on CompleteHealthAndHappiness.com. And it says here... you probably thought that the worst thing your shampoo could do to you is burn your eyes, but it turns out that your shampoo could be deadly. The Center for Environmental Health, based in Oakland, California, performed a study on shampoos and soaps and found that 98 included a possible carcinogen known as cocamide diethylamine.
That's
DEA.
That's bad right there.
I mean, if you need
DEA,
if you need to make up a name like that, it's like what are you hiding?
Yeah.
And so this DEA is a controversial ingredient found in body care items and has landed 4 personal care manufacturers with a lawsuit in California. The Center for Environmental Health field filed the suit after discovering the presence of this DEA, the foam stabilizer and volumizer, in shampoos and soaps. In the state of California, Prop 65 requires manufacturers to warn consumers over the risk of certain substances. DEA is on that list because it is a suspected carcinogen. It was banned in the state last year after a study found it caused cancer in laboratory animals. And there's a list of 98 other shampoos that contain this.
And that's shampoo,
That's
people.
a shampoo.
That's not hair color. That's not... I mean, I think about all the years that I didn't wear gloves. every time I'm washing someone's hair at the sink, it's warm water and it creates steam, and I'm breathing directly all those chemicals right up into my digestive tract, or into my respiratory, and sometimes it literally takes your breath away. Like, so yeah, in that movie Lethal Beauty, they were talking all about what actually is lab rats and other animals, I don't know what, I think it was just maybe lab rats, are testing for with all these beauty products, and it's reproductive harm, it's abortions, it's cancers, it's all kinds of stuff that are just not good. So yeah, you know, besides the fact that I'm quitting for my own health, I'm actually feeling really, really, it's heavy on my heart, and I feel like I would be doing people a disservice to continue with the toxicity I'm providing them, knowing what I know.
Yeah, because you know, really, that you're harming these people. That's hard to do, isn't it?
It's really hard.
I mean, it's like if you're a mother feeding your family food that you know is gonna be very detrimental to their health. How do you keep doing that?
I know.
It's like at some point you get to a level where you're like,
you can't.
Yeah, I just can't do it anymore.
That's the level I've hit. It's pretty wild. It's totally bizarre. I mean, I feel like I've never been meant to be in this industry. You know, although I'm talented at it and I'm pretty good at it, I'd say I have never loved it. I've always felt like it worked me. You know, like So it's really good, but man, is it just really uncomfortable and unfortunate to watch a movie like that, because, you know, I got all riled up. I'm like, I'm done today. I'm not even, you know, in 2 weeks, it doesn't matter. You know, I threw up my hands, but then I'm like, okay, people have Christmas hair they're counting on, and I will leave them with, you know, how do you leave in a way, though? I mean, basically, I'm handing them off as clients to a really good friend of mine who, it's like, I want to throw a gas mask at her, and I also want her to protect herself, and I also want to try to talk people out of coloring their hair altogether. But
how do you do that?
And, you know, vanity, I mean, it's pretty wild. I had a client, I had to go in this morning because Christmas time is a little nuts, and so I'm just trying to wrap up as many clients as I can before the end of the year. And one of my clients this morning, her sister's a hairstylist and has been for 50 years. Her sister,
why does she go to her sister?
Well, she goes to me, but her sister's out of town. She doesn't live around here.
Okay.
And she was saying how her sister got diagnosed, I think, last week with colitis and a bunch of digestive problems, and had all these really funky blood works come back that seemed to be cancer markers. And same as my pancreatic thing, where, you know, you might have this cancer antigen marker, but it's not really cancer, but nobody knows. It's like this mystery X. And I think a lot of hairdressers, stylists are getting this, where nobody really knows what's wrong with you, but we're all having these major weird problems starting to happen. And I go, oh, did this just hit her after 50 years? I mean, did she have problems along the way? And she goes, oh, yeah. From the first year she started, she developed asthma, and she gets bronchial infections like every month. And she's been on an inhaler. And she starts going through this list of things that started in this woman's life the minute she started doing hair. And I go, whoa. So she kept going for 50 years? It just blew my freaking mind.
So how old is she now? Maybe in her 70s?
Yeah, she's like 70. I think she started at 20 or 19. And she never had any of those problems. So like within the first year of doing hair, she said that she developed all these weird symptoms. And now she's just been on, like, you know, suppressants and medications to try to help her continue to do her toxic job. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like, at least when I kind of had the wake-up call, I didn't quit dramatically, and I didn't walk away within the day of feeling like I got some bad news. But
at least you woke up.
Oh my gosh. If I was having to take all that, and this is me still feeling not 100% while I'm doing all these amazing protocols and things and detoxes for my body, and I'm still not right. These people are not only like going continually adding to their onslaught of toxins, they're not getting anything out. Like their poor systems are just bombarded. It made me sick. It made me literally sick.
I have a theory about why people do that, and it has to do with generational issues that are going on too with people.
What do you mean? Like, people commit to their job and they don't quit, kind of thing?
Yeah, it seems as if people that are perhaps older, from an older generation, nothing against it. I think this is a very noble thing, but I think it, if taken in excess, can blind you to the ability that we have these days to be able to research and find out more information. So, for example, like people that work in coal mines, or people that work laying tar on roofs, where they're getting all these insane amount of chemicals, or this lady is doing
roofers,
hair. You know, if you're of the generation from 30, 40 years ago, it seems like you're going to be more inclined on a general level to be the type of person that sort of pushes through stuff. You know what I mean?
Like our dads.
Like our dads. My dad was just telling me the other day, he died. He had some sort of bowel issues for like a year and a half.
Mm-hmm, that's right. Yeah, we were driving them to the airport when he told us this. Yeah.
And he sort of didn't tell anyone and pushed through it.
Never went to the doctor.
Was very stubborn about it. And ended up dying of colon cancer. My grandfather, when I was probably 1 or 2 years old. But it seems as if a lot of people will push through, and I don't know what it is. It's that, I don't know if it comes from propaganda from media and from the government, or where it comes from, where people will push through. You know, when you go into work and like your clients will do this to you because you don't have a regular job. But if you have a regular job and a corporate job, or in your case, you have clients, and you want to take a sick day off, you have to like really fight for that.
You do. Even
though they give you, 10 days of sick day paid per year. And if you on average only take 5 of those, and on one given year, you want to take one of those 5, and you're still not taking all 10, you're only taking 5. But even if you want to take one of those 5, you still have to fight for that.
It's kind of frowned upon, isn't it?
It's frowned upon, and I don't know what it is, where it comes from in our culture to push through, to not allow people time. It's like that whole thing that, what's her name, talks about. What is her name that does the self-care stuff from Hay House?
Oh, why am I blanking? I love her.
Cheryl Richardson?
Cheryl Richardson, thank you.
Yeah, she wrote a book on self-care, and it's like, that goes against everything that our society really tells us to do, right? Because our society is just push, no matter what, at what cost.
You know what's
so weird.
You know what's a funny line, though, I'm realizing, is I think there's such, like, we're so grateful our dads and grandpas basically got us to where we all are today by their commitment. Mm-hmm. It's hard because I feel like commitment and integrity and being true to your word are huge. Mm-hmm. They're huge for your psyche. They're huge but it doesn't come without a price. Like when you know that something's either not benefiting you, or you've done enough work to kind of go, this might not be the best thing for me anymore to stay at this job for 50 years with, basically to die of tumors the next year because you were so stressed out for 50 years.
Right.
So I feel like if you can combine, it's just a fine art. I have not even come close to mastering. I'm just realizing it's there and I'm trying to learn it.
Right.
But balance this going into a self-care regimen every day where you put yourself first without seeming selfish, but you also have the integrity and the commitment to following through with what you set out to do, or your provision for your family, it's this weird like balancing act, and I think it's possible, but I think the key is just to wake up and realize that you need to take care, put on your own oxygen mask first, kind of thing, like people say, and then help other. You're able to stay committed in a more, I think, healthy way.
It's like what's his name talks about, Don Miguel Ruiz in the 4 Agreements. One of the 4 Agreements is stay true to your word.
Yeah.
And I think that if you, let's say you have a bunch
of... But not at any cost either. That's the problem.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you have a series of things in your life, like let's say you're going to work and you're just trying to be a good employee and not take excessive days off and all that. But let's say it's something where you commit to going to a holiday party, like these are right now it's Christmas time, and or some other commitment that you overextend yourself. Mm-hmm. And so when you're just talking about this balancing act that you're doing now, how do you balance? Okay, let's say on the day of the party happens, you feel horrible, you have digestive issues, you don't want to go to the party, but you committed to it. Mm-hmm. So then what do? I think what you're talking about, the balancing thing, could come into practice really in a practical way for people, is not overextending themselves so that they can be people of their word. They can still honor their word and their commitments like people from generations ago, and still be a man of character, a woman of character, and a woman who carries things out. But you can also be someone who doesn't overcommit, so that let's say you commit to 10 things on a yearly basis, 10 things, and you go to all 10 of them, but 5 of those 10 are really stressing you out and you wish you'd never committed to them. Well, this way, if you commit to only 5, then you don't have to go to those other 5 that are going to be stressing you out. So you can still be a person of your word and still take care of yourself. It's kind of like this dual thing. Because I think that
it is a duality.
If you're a person of your word and you overcommit, you're kind of screwed in a lot of ways because you're just going and doing so many things that you shouldn't be doing. You know?
I think so too.
I'll come in on a weekend, or I'll come in at 5 a.m. to work, and you shouldn't.
Right.
Right. It's crazy.
No, you're right. Not take the sick days that you're due, and not, try to push through.
Yeah.
I also feel like, unfortunately, our dad's generations were, if you don't like a job, well, too bad. That's what you do. Like it's so sad that there was no sense of being happy, like caring. It's like your happiness didn't matter. You did what you did, and you were lucky enough and blessed enough to have a job to provide for your family. So it's like you didn't deserve to be happy doing it. I mean, that makes me sad because I'm so grateful they did what they did. But man, I mean, our whole quality of life is so much better. Like we have different struggles, but we don't hate waking up in the morning and have to go do, the same darn thing that we hate for 50 years and just 35 years.
Yeah, and it doesn't come without its own stressors. And
right.
But doing all this, it gives you the tools to be able to deal with the stress. And I think it's an important thing. I really do. You wrote an article this week I want to talk about when we get back from the break.
Yeah.
I have to go pee because I drank 2 glasses of water.
You're being me, yeah? And a giant bowl of broth.
2 glasses of water, a bowl of broth, about 6 to 7 ounces of coconut water with colostrum, and a One World Way shake.
Oh, gee. You're going to explode. You're like ticking time bomb over on that side of the desk.
I got to go pee.
You have a question in the chat room, too, when you get back. Justin, have you heard of coconut oil not as great for you? Not being that great for you, and what would you recommend? And then you're asking me, too, and does anyone use ghee? So maybe let's get into that.
Talk about that.
Okay.
Let's see here. You know what? We didn't even say this, but I wanted to thank everyone for using our Amazon link.
Oh, guys, thank you.
At the beginning of the show, and I thanked everybody on Facebook for that the other day. And we're just so grateful that you guys do that. It helps us so much. And we've had people write in, and people say that what they're doing is starting to bookmark that link. And so whenever they go to Amazon, they'll use that bookmark. And
that's so huge. Huge.
Us too. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, so if you have any last-minute Christmas shopping, or really any time you want to do any shopping, if you go to extremehealthradio.com.
Like you? I'm pointing at you. You haven't even started.
No, I haven't started.
Oh, man.
Christmas shopping. Are you done?
I'm done.
Are you done?
I'm completely done. No, I have socks. Socks for my mom.
Well, we have Amazon Prime.
Yes.
So there's still hope.
You better get going right after this.
Jeff Bezos can save the day.
Kate won't have a Christmas. Who's Jeff Bezos?
He's the CEO of Amazon.
Oh, wow.
Jeff
Look
Bezos.
at you just pulling that out.
Well,
that was good.
I'm a stockholder in Amazon. No. But we appreciate all you guys using our Amazon link. It's super cool. We're
Thanks,
really,
guys.
really excited about that, so thank you. All right, so this is episode, 252, right?
This is 252, correct.
252, and we'll be right back right after this break. I wanted to tell you about this really powerful and unique product called the Q Laser. Did you know there's over 2,500 peer-reviewed clinical research studies showing the benefits of low-level laser therapy on the body? We had Dr. Larry Lytle on episode 165 talking all about it. Dr. Lytle, what is the Q Laser?
The Q Laser is a light-delivering device, handheld, rechargeable, that is for lay people and professionals, that works at the cell level of the body to restore energy. Since the body is all composed of cells and the cells are composed of atoms, it's good for any and everything in the body. It is especially beneficial for injuries. It will reduce swelling and inflammation before your eyes. Literally, you can have a sprained ankle and apply the laser, and within 30 minutes you can see that the swelling in the ankle has been reduced. Since all disease is inflammatory, you can assume that the same process is working if you have some type of intestinal problem. We have pictures of using a heat instrument to diagnose the intestinal inflammation. We can show that intestinal inflammation is pretty much gone within 3 minutes using the Q1000 laser. It's the number one tool in your medicine cabinet. I have a saying, never leave home without your laser. I have had 3 serious burns, and each time I had my laser with me, I applied the laser immediately after I had the burn. I never even blistered.
Kate and I don't want to be without ours. We've worked out a special deal with Dr. Lytle for all of our listeners. If you'd like to learn more about how the Q Laser can dramatically improve your health, go to extremehealthradio.com/laser. So I'd been following a guy named Lucas Rockwood for years and years, and he's a yoga instructor and a raw foodist, and we were finally able to get him on our show on episode number 10. So if you want to listen to his interview, it's really good. But he's a really good guy. We're honored and proud to be supporting him and his products at Yoga Body Naturals, and he's got this really cool product called the Yoga Trapeze, and you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/trapeze, and that's TRAPEZE. It's really cool, like a yoga swing that you can install in your house or in your garage or anywhere. It's really, really cool. It helps to invert the body, and you could do back bends, and it's really, really an amazing thing for elongating your spine and relieving back pain. But the power of inversion is really, really critical. It's really sold and marketed as something that will help your back, but the power of inversion is really, really great. And people like David Wolfe and lots of other people talk about how powerful it is to invert the body for some portion of the day, for as often as you can. And it's really cool. It comes with a bunch of videos that teach you how to install it. And it's got a bunch of practice videos too that comes as a bonus. He gives you a 2-month supply of this Liquid Energy B, which is like $25 normally. And he's got 108 Super Juices ebook that's normally $30, and also a Yoga Trapeze chart that's normally $20 that he throws in as for free. And you can get them in purple, two-tone purple, or two-tone orange. And the cool thing is that you can try it for just $1 for 30 days. And it's really, really a cool thing. If you go to extremehealthradio.com/trapeze, you can learn more about it and watch the videos of him using it and demonstrating why it's so good and all of that stuff. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, elongating the spine and using inversion to help heal your back and to have better posture and all of that, it's really something that you should look into. But before you look into it, listen to our interview with him in episode number 10 and just learn more about him and what his work is all about. And then go to extremehealthradio.com/trapeze if you're interested in getting this thing. And if you get it, let me know. I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about it and how it's benefited you and all that. So thank you for listening. And you can also check it out in our store too. So don't forget to check it out there. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the interview.
100% listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
This song. I'm going to instill a new program, I decided.
New program? I'm just getting down to the beat.
Yeah, you're rocking out over there.
Just down to the beat.
I think you need to learn to play the banjo.
I know, right?
Because I haven't committed to it like I wanted.
Yeah.
You know how Obama he had that No Child Left Behind in the school thing?
Oh, yeah.
I'm creating a new program called No Chia Left Behind. Because I was mixing up some chia pudding at the break for later.
Uh-huh.
And I get so sad that at the end of the packet of chia, there's all these seeds stuck up in there. You have to get a spoon and shake them around. It's really hard to go through to get all those seeds out. And I thought, that's their destiny. They're supposed to be eaten, not thrown away. Like, they would die in the trash can if somebody doesn't eat them. And I feel like I'm just going to go the full mile to try to get the last chia seed out of there. No chia left behind.
Have you ever heard about, I love that.
I think Obama would be impressed.
No chia left behind. No chia left behind. I like that. Hopefully it's a little more successful than his No Child Left Behind campaign.
Yeah.
Have you heard about people talking about how like seeds and certain seeds and nuts and all of nature, their ultimate goal is to be processed through a digestive tract, and to then germinate and to become, sort of spawn and reproduce.
No.
Yeah, it's wild. Like
I haven't heard that, but I'm not surprised.
What are those flowers called that you say wishes for? You blow on?
I just call them wishes. Are they dandelions? I think they're dandelion.
Are they dandelion flowers?
I think so.
Where you make a wish and you blow.
Mm-hmm.
But those people talk about they have a consciousness and they have an intention, all of these things, and that's why the acorn seed drops to the ground and at a certain time, because it wants to sort of spread its own wings and become the fullest expression of what it can be, which is a full acorn tree that can also reproduce and create more acorn trees. And so people talk about this with seeds as well. And so the seed's ultimate goal is to pass through a digestive tract and to germinate and to grow more of itself.
Or pass through anything, really. I mean, you think about all the seeds that aren't going to get eaten, but they want to basically fly through the air and find their place they're supposed to thrive and plant themselves and grow into something better,
right.
Yeah,
because everything wants to become its fullest expression of itself, as well as reproduce and keep life going. All of life wants to continue expressing itself, growing, and living.
Yeah.
And so it's funny, people talk about the intention of seeds or the intention of viruses or parasites. Like, they all have an intention, and their intention is to manifest and to grow and to spread themselves. But we don't know why we all want to do that. It's weird. Like, you and I want to be healthy and we want to procreate. That's what humans want to do. That's what everything wants to do.
Yeah.
But we don't really know why. Why?
Isn't that funny? That's
why
so
do we want
funny.
to do this? Isn't that weird?
You know what I thought about? This is totally, we'll get back to the topic of butter and ghee in a second here, but because in the chat room we're having quite a conversation. But I feel like as a kid, it's weird what you have as a kid and you just think everyone else thinks this way.
What do you mean you have?
Like, you have these certain thoughts as kids or a certain way that you are, and you think everyone else is like that, but I realize it's not. As a little kid, I always thought about the feelings of inanimate objects.
Really?
Yeah, always.
Really?
Like, oh, that's so sad. That stuffed animal's probably feeling really left out that he didn't get to come to my overnight sleeping thing. You know, I felt bad for my bear. I felt, bad if you dropped something on the floor and then you threw it in the trash and it was never going to get eaten because it was supposed to be. I always felt like these things had energetic feelings. Yeah. And I realized that's kind of funny. Like, I always felt like, I guess I'm just weird. Yeah,
you're
I'm just weird. I grew up thinking about that, though.
See, I thought about that with things like animals, but I never thought about that with, it wasn't until recently, until 2003, basically, when I started becoming aware of sort of consciousness and health and life, that I started thinking about that, about things like seeds or things like that these things want to be eaten.
Yeah.
But I never thought about that. I thought about it with dogs, maybe growing up, and animals, but never with like inanimate objects like
I always
stuffed animals.
I think it's kind of, I wonder if a lot of other people have done that, but I mean, I'd see like my rollerblades or my skateboard sitting there and I'd be like, oh, bummer, that looks kind of lonely.
Really?
Like, it's not being played with. I wonder if it's lonely. Like, I would actually think like that poor skateboard is lonely. Like, that's kind of weird, right? Like,
yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's true, but I'm just saying now that I'm older and I've gotten into this journey of just understanding maybe how energetics work and that things do have certain vibrations. They might not be alive and they might not have feelings, but there's some sort of resonance in which they're vibrating at, and it's a trip.
Well, when you start realizing there's consciousness and there's some sort of aliveness factor that's going on, like with plants, how they've done studies, electrical field studies with plants where they can show clinically on a computer screen that plants feel the vibration of being cut or burned or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so when you start realizing that like plants have this kind of thing, and then you start looking into the work of Dr. Masaru Emoto with the messages in water, a lot of people try to debunk that. I don't know if it's true or not, but let's just say for the sake of argument that what he's saying is true and water's alive. Then you start realizing, what if that skateboard is alive? Or what if that bike is alive? Is that weird? That's really weird.
I've always thought that. I've always thought about that.
Well,
I always think of all the sad things sitting there when you go on vacation for 2 weeks and all the things are just sitting in your house. I'm like, it seems like there's life at your house because you've lived there and you're leaving all of this life because things seem alive to you when you're there. Mm-hmm. But when you leave, you wonder, like, it's like Toy Story. You probably never saw it, but when the main kid, it's such a great movie, when he leaves, it's like all his toys become alive and they hang out and they have these adventures and stuff. I mean, as a kid, I really thought that that's kind of, without having ever seen Toy Story, I felt very alone in that, but I always thought, it seems like that's what happens. Like, there's some communication between objects, or
Well,
I don't know, because they're existing within your space where there is life.
Well, think about this too. If you think about we're talking about this. Funny, we brought this up because we're talking about this on the way.
You never
to
know what's coming up here.
Dr. Bergman's office about what makes something alive. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
And so, if you think about like a skateboard or really anything that's made from wood, not counting metal, but I'm sure you can make the case for metal. I'm not a scientist, but if you were to do with wood, essentially that wood was alive. It was a tree, right? So it's going to carry some sort of vibrational energy within it, right? Because at some point it really did. It really was alive. And so if you look at a typical house made out of wood, you have, at least you could say, a former aliveness that was inside the wood, right?
Right.
Whether or not it's still there is up for
debatable.
debate.
Sure.
But then if you have the people that talk about like how if a murder was committed in a house, or if there was some sort of catastrophic event that occurred within the four walls, there's some sort of energy that remains in the space. So then you have two elements there that are like the energy of past people that live there, plus the energy of the aliveness that could still be there within the wood of that house. So
that is a great point.
Maybe everything is alive. I don't know.
You know, that is a great point.
It's kind of weird, right?
That is really strange. That is so true.
I wonder. That's why Jay Cordes says live food, live bodies. You know, dead food, dead bodies.
Right. Right.
There's some sort of vibrational factor that occurs. Like we were talking about, when you have a person that had just died and they're laying on the floor, and you have another person that's laying on the floor sleeping, and you were to take a photograph of them, picture, they would both look like the same, right?
Right.
But what is it inside their bodies? What is going on that makes one person able to sort of wake up? Like, what is this animating factor?
I know.
People call it our soul. People have fancy names for it, but what is it?
What is it? That's the age-old question, I guess. Like, I
mean, I've heard of it from a New Age perspective. I've heard of it from a Christian perspective, from a religious perspective, but just
from an Eastern, from a Western. I mean, it is strange. You think you're a bunch of bones and skin and organs just alive. Like, things are moving, things are contracting all on their own. I mean, it's all electrical, but it's bizarre. It's like you think of a hybrid car or whatever, or electrical. You plug it in, it runs for a while, and then you plug it in again. Things that have batteries and recharging make sense to me.
Right.
However, I mean, I know that's kind of what you're doing when you go to sleep or whatever, but how is it that your body just has this unstoppable life force? What makes something alive? Like, it is so strange to me.
I know.
It kind of blows your mind.
It's something electrical, isn't it? Because when they do EKGs and the line
is electrical, but
the line goes flat. I mean, that's essentially what Qigong is, because we talked about that. And when people say that you sleep, you sort of pull in these etheric energies that exist within the cosmos. And there's something that happens on the dark side of the earth when the sun's not hitting the earth from an electromagnetic radiation perspective, where that's why people sleep at night when there's no sun, because not just because of the blue light that hits and our eyes are affected by the blue light and produces melatonin and all that, but we sleep at night when the sun is not hitting our side of the planet, because we're more easily able to pull in this etheric vibration, whatever it is, into our awareness, sort of like a funnel where we suck in all these like vortex energies while we sleep. That's at least what I've heard. I have no idea. I mean, I don't think anyone really knows what the heck's going on when we sleep. But somehow we're recharging our batteries. I don't know what that means. I mean, why do we wake up? I was exhausted when I went to sleep last night. I wake up and I feel amazing.
Refreshed.
What is that? What is that?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, no matter how much science can explain it away, or we know that we're electric, it's bizarre. When you think we're a bunch of like bags of bones walking around, somehow we work. You know, like when you take it down to a really simple, bare bones, literally, it's very strange to me.
Very, very strange, man.
Hey, real quick, do you what kind of preferred browser do you suggest people use in the live show?
Oh, for our website, I like to use Chrome.
That's what I thought. Google Chrome.
Yeah, I think a lot of people still use Internet Explorer.
Yeah, okay.
Why are people asking?
Oh, yeah, our friend in the chat room, Farmer Mark, he's having a problem hearing the audio, but everyone else seems okay, so I'm not sure.
Perhaps maybe, Mark, you might be able to switch over to Chrome or maybe even Firefox too. If you look up, if you're in the chat room now and you scroll up a little bit and you see where it says, number 1, listen live below. And then there's a little picture of Baby Kate and myself. I'm wearing a red shirt.
Baby Kate. Thanks.
There's a little, looks like a little speaker right below that circle on the very left of that green bar. Sorry if you're listening on a podcast while you're doing a workout. Can't really picture this, but there's a little picture of what looks like a speaker, and maybe you can click on that or turn your audio speakers up on your computer as well. That should help you, I hope.
Gosh, I hope. It's so frustrating.
It is.
Yeah, because we're so stoked. Everybody's in the chat. It's so much fun to have you guys in the chat room, and we want everybody to be able to hear us well as they can, obviously.
5590 says, I went to sleep at 7 p.m. Wow.
I'm having jealousy issues right now.
5590 at 7 p.m. That is pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
Speaking of, you mentioned the new year. The new year really happens from a non-civ, what do they call it? Like civic time, where it's commercial time, which is what we're on. But at a true astrological time, the new year actually starts on the shortest day of the year.
Really?
So December 22nd is really when the actual new year starts, because January 1st is like a made up sort of arbitrary date.
Right.
And so it's interesting. That's coming up in 4 days.
Holy moly. Do you think there's something really powerful about that time?
I suspect, because we were watching a documentary the other day on astrology.
Yeah. It's on Gaiam, right?
She didn't mention this, but yeah, there is that'd be interesting to find out if there's something significant about December 22nd. Or 21st to start something new.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because January 1st is sort of arbitrary, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't really make much sense.
No, nothing. Just any given date is arbitrary. I mean,
I
think when people just put labels on things and call it something, anybody can do that,
Yeah. Hey, so how'd you like the colostrum?
Okay, well, I had a sip right here.
Mm-hmm.
I think it reminds me a lot of the One World Whey.
Does it?
Very sweet to me.
I like it.
But maybe that's because I haven't had the whey in a while, because I'm kind of having digestive issues with that.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not sure. That's why I'm trying colostrum just in a tiny amount to see how I do with the quote dairy, even though it's really not considered really dairy.
Right. It's good, isn't it?
It smells like a bowl of soggy Cheerios.
Yeah, but it smells like to me it smells like a really it reminds me of childhood, like this.
It reminds me of childhood. It reminds me of eating cereal in the morning before school.
Uh-huh.
It tastes like, it doesn't taste like Cheerios. It reminds me of like the milk in my bowl from your Cheerios.
From cereal, yeah.
Yeah, but it tastes like all the sugary, sweet part of the milk left over after you eat a sugar cereal. Do you want to finish this part?
Yeah, because it's probably the coconut water that we have in here.
The coconut, yeah.
Oh, you didn't blend it all the way up?
Well, I tried. I did, and it separated. I did it at the break, and now it's kind of getting clotty. Yeah,
it tastes like, yeah, you're right. It does. It tastes like, because I think it's the coconut. If you blend it with just water, there'd be no sweetness.
Right, but the coconut water. So, question in the chat room for you. What do you think about ghee or coconut products? Do you have an opinion?
Yeah, it's interesting. I seem to do well when I combine coconut products like coconut oil with vegetables when you cook it. But there's something about coconut that, like, if I eat it on an empty stomach, like a spoonful of it's hard or something, I just don't seem to do well. Do you have that issue too? I do. I do really good with the oil. With the oil. But I do good with the oil. Yes, I agree. Cooked with something or blended into something. If I have a big old spoonful of coconut oil on an empty stomach, I feel kind of funky. It feels kind of weird, doesn't it? And that's just oil. That's not even coconut butter or flesh or anything. I'm the same way, because you know those little things that I get at the health food store, those little chocolate coconut kind of, what are they, truffles? Mm-hmm. That's cacao, coconut oil, and some almonds. I do really well with that. But if I have coconut oil by itself on an empty stomach, I just don't seem to do that well with it. I don't know why. I know. It kind of bloats me out a little bit. But if I cook vegetables, like yesterday, you had all those cooked vegetables cooked in coconut oil, I would do amazing with that. Yeah, I do too. I feel like it's, I feel like I'm bummed because who was our guest we had on talk about the coconut ketones?
And how amazing coconut was for everybody.
Bruce Fife.
Bruce Fife, he was great.
Yeah.
But I thought, man, again, when we were talking about at the break about how we feel about the coconut products and the ghee and butter and things, it seems to be so individual.
Right.
And it seems to be so individual, even like within yourself. Like I can't do a coconut product at a certain time of the day without having a problem, but I could do it probably in the evening or, if I cook it down with vegetables and seasoning, I'm okay. But if I put it in a smoothie, I don't do so well. It's like, my gosh, it's like this constant journey of figuring out
how you feel.
Because I can do ghee seemingly right now, no problem, but raw butter, not so much.
Yeah.
Our friend in the chat room says that they get hives from the coconut oil off the tablespoon when they do that too, and they get red boils.
Interesting. I'm wondering if you've ever done, I seem to do well when I do coconut oil, when I do oil pulling. I don't know if anyone's ever done that in the morning where you take about a spoon or teaspoon of coconut oil. A lot of people do it with, I think, sunflower oil. But I think that's the preferred method, but you can also do coconut oil.
I was going to say coconut's not the one that they usually tell you to do.
Yeah, it's, I think it's sunflower oil. And I do really well with that when I do oil pulling. You kind of swish it in your mouth. I set a little timer, and I swish it around in my mouth for 20 minutes. For me, I have to make sure I'm doing something because it seems to take a long time. That 20 minutes lasts forever. So sorry, Maggie, I kicked Maggie.
Oh, Maggie.
But if I'm doing the dishes or something like that, listening to a radio show and doing oil pulling, it works well. But I try to do coconut oil or coconut products as much as possible, the ones that do work for me. So there are a million different kinds of coconut products that, and I only seem to kind of have reactions to the coconut oil. But I would really try to figure out ways to work it into your diet because it's so incredibly healthy for brain health and for it goes right to your liver. It passes through your stomach, and I think it gets directly digested into your liver, which makes it incredibly powerful for all those lipids and fatty acids and things. And
do you think for people who don't do good with coconut products and oils, do you think those oils that we take, those parent essential oils, take the place of that, or do you think that they're doing something different? I mean, do you think your liver's getting just as much of a help from those, according to what you remember? Because we get so much information.
Yeah, I would listen to a show that we did with Professor Brian Peskin, and maybe we can put a note to that. On parent essential oils, Professor Brian Peskin, and he talks a lot about the dangers of fish oil and how this pharmacological dosage that people are taking of fish oil is something that's incredibly damaging for many reasons. But one of the main reasons he talks about is that in order to get a certain amount of fish oil in a capsule, you would have to eat the equivalent of something like 30 fish. And it's like, that's not even possible.
So bad. Right? At least you don't have to juice 30 fish.
Well, that's essentially what they do.
Oh my gosh.
What was that?
I almost slungshot. Is that a word? What's the past tense of slingshot?
It's cul-de-sac.
Cul-de-sac. It is. Can you slungshot or did you slingshotted?
I slingshotted.
That doesn't sound like a word.
You had a tough time putting that chia seed in your mouth.
Putting into my
You almost threw it all over your chest.
Good for the skin. That was a facial I was trying to get myself.
That'd be good. Yeah, good for the skin.
You know what happened? My arm got stuck under this microphone and I couldn't spoon it into my mouth.
You almost just threw that all over your face.
That would have been awesome.
What were we talking about a second ago? About the coconut oil? Or
how you can't juice 1,000 fish.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's essentially what they do is they squeeze the fish and they press the oil that comes from the fish. And so he talks about all of the damaging effects of fish oil, which you're not going to hear anywhere else because everyone touts the amazing benefits of fish oil. I kind of side with him. At some point, we have to trust somebody. He doesn't sell parent essential oils. He just is a researcher.
Yeah.
So I like that about him. He's not
he's not financially committed to it.
Tied as far as I know. But he told us off the air. I asked him what kind of parent essential oils he takes, and he takes a brand called Yes Supplements. He didn't tell us. It was like, I remember he didn't even feel that comfortable telling us. But I just said, it's not something that I'm going to say that you recommend. And he said, okay, that's fine, because I can't be involved with a product, but I take Yes essential oils, and So that's what we do. I don't know.
I feel pretty good when I take it. Do you feel any different?
I don't know. But after listening to his show, and I don't take enough of them.
Right.
I kind of space it out.
Yeah, they're expensive little suckers like everything else.
Yeah, so I kind of I think if you go to extremehealthradio.com/yes, I think it'll redirect you to a place where you can pick up these parent essential oils, because the parent essential oils are just what they sound like. They're the parents of what your body will use those oils to turn into the omega-3s. And
it's almost like it's a conduit. It like becomes whatever. It's like a free agent, like whatever you need it to be, your body will make it into that.
Yeah, like a stem cell or...
Yeah.
It's sort of like, if you want to grow healthy bones, what they say is not necessarily to take calcium, but to take silica and magnesium, because your body puts those two together
to form
strong bone.
Gotcha.
In the form of calcium. And so
I'm going to put the link to those supplements in the room just in case anyone's wanting to know.
Yeah, maybe we can put a link on the chat room too, or in the show page.
Yeah, we'll do that. Did you Shane has a question. Speaking of fish, are you familiar with sardine peptides? I've heard sardines are some of the healthiest eating fish. Have you heard of those?
Well, I heard about that, the sardines as well, but I haven't heard of the peptides.
I haven't heard of the peptides either. Sardine peptides. Huh.
Yeah, a lot of people do sardines. I think
sardines are, yeah.
Do you like them?
I love them.
Do you?
Oh, man, I love them.
Really?
Yep. It's hard to get them packed in water, though. It's like they all come in this oily, it's hard to get it. I want them, I think we found some one time that were like packed in like spring water. Do you remember? And it was like really pure, like from a well or something. And those were amazing.
One thing I want to check though is they come typically in that tin can. And what I want to make sure is, before I buy them again, is to make sure that tin can has a BPA free lining.
Right. That's huge. Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Huh. Found pumpkin that has that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, a lot of things do. I'm glad people... See, I think people are kind of waking up a little bit. Like,
oh, they are?
Okay, people are putting up a little bit more of a fight where it's causing companies to at least pay attention. Even if they're not going the extra mile and making it super safe, at least they're trying to somewhat mitigate some of the damage.
I have a listener question here from Steve, and he says, let's see... Let's see. 1 second. Now, is that the right one? This one's from Antoine Anderson. Hello, I'm Antoine, and I have DVT,
Diverticulitis?
I have DVT and PE. What is PE?
PE.
PE. I'm currently on Coumadin and want to be done with this rat poison. Any suggestions?
It might be good to know what PE is first.
Yeah, right?
Is it pulmonary something? Here, I'll Google it. It's probably going to be so simple, we're going to be like, oh.
Yeah, you want to make sure that if you're currently on any pharmaceutical medication, we can't tell people to get off that stuff, because once you sort of...
Pulmonary embolism? I don't know.
Yeah, that could be it.
A sudden blockage in the lung artery. The blockage is usually caused by a blood clot that travels to the lung from the vein in the leg. Maybe that could be it.
Okay, yeah, that's what typically people take Coumadin for. But I just want to make sure that we say this, because we can't really recommend for people to take to get off their medications. That's something that they're going to have to take sort of a spiritual responsibility for, an emotional responsibility for that. And they have to work with their doctor to do that. I would highly suggest, in all seriousness, I know we make fun of this a lot, but if you are on a medication, I assume that the way to get off that medication is going to be to taper off of it, because these things become essentially what they are, is drugs, and your body doesn't, your body doesn't die because of a lack of the drugs. It dies because of the electrical imbalance of what that drug is giving to you, and when you pull that away so fast, your body goes into shock. Yeah, and so really work with your medical doctor to get off these things if that's what you want to do.
Totally agree.
With that said, in 2012, there was 259 million prescription medications that were prescribed just for painkillers.
In America?
In America. 259 million.
Okay, we got trouble.
Isn't that insane?
Right here in River City.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Dang.
And I think it's over 100,000 people a year, just in the United States, die from prescription medications.
How many of them do you think?
Taken properly. The CDC, it says around 40,000, but other people say can be as high as 100,000. But that's still like,
That's like ridiculously... That shouldn't even, that's like there's no chart for that. It's off the charts.
I mean, that's a couple 100,000, or that's a couple 100 people a day, 100 to 200 people every single day.
Oh my gosh.
That's a couple people every hour.
Oh my gosh. From prescription medication.
Prescription medication.
Yeah. Imagine how many people, I mean, it's not a pleasant topic, but how many people are dying just from overdoses every day? I mean, those are huge, the amount of like illegal drugs in your body, but the legal prescribed dosage is killing a couple hundred people a day. That just, that's insane.
Isn't that crazy?
It's insane.
So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to, cause a lot of people take Coumadin because of the blood clots and things like that for their heart and for embolisms and things like that going up to their heart. Mm-hmm. So, obviously DHA and CoQ10 are going to be really helpful for people, doing some sort of, lifestyle redesign. So you're lowering your stress levels.
What does CoQ10 do?
It's really a great thing for the heart and for the blood. And people use it all the time for those particular ailments and to prevent heart attacks and things like that.
Okay.
And DHA as well. So obviously you want to redesign your life so that you can start eating properly, maybe doing some meditation, lowering your stress, having some sort of exercise program. And then working with your doctor, obviously. But then taking supplements like magnesium, going to be really, really helpful for the heart. CoQ10, DHA, eating food that has, maybe those parent essential oils would be really helpful too for the heart. I'm going to put a link on the website, but you could do garlic and hawthorn. There's all kinds of really great things you can start doing to get off of your medications. I would highly recommend. See, this is the thing. It's so easy to artificially lower a number that is, how do I say, maybe not even necessarily responsible for the condition that you could potentially die from. So like a high cholesterol number it's not really indicative of heart health and artery health.
Oh, interesting. Right. Right.
Because there are people in the high hundreds, 200-300 cholesterol that are perfectly fine. And so, it's an issue where there's a lot more going on than just eating foods that are typically high in cholesterol.
But I think people freak themselves out about the number, and the number's so real to them that they, almost talk themselves into heart attacks and cholesterol-related diseases because I think that people put so much stock into a number,
Red yeast rice is another one that's good for circulation. Cayenne pepper. Hey, have you ever heard of, we have a listener question from, I love this. Oh
no.
From a Facebook listener, Tara Misu.
Nice.
Taramisu.
Love
it. She says that she heard on one of our programs that we recommended the Valequa alkaline water unit, but I can't find it in your store. Did you stop recommending it for some reason?
How do you spell that?
Velaqua, like Velaqua.
Oh.
I'd never heard of that.
I don't think, I haven't heard of it either. Maybe it wasn't on our show. Maybe she thought she heard it on our show.
Yeah, we like the Berkey, and there's a few shows we've done on water you can look into on our show. You can find them by searching, but
and what else have we with Chanson?
The Chanson water filter.
About that one.
Friends of Water. Timothy Hickey.
I like that guy.
Good stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we are chock full of information, so I guess we could have said it at some point, but we don't remember it. That one's not on my radar.
I want to do one more listener question really quick, and I want to ask you after the break about an article you wrote recently, which is really cool, about being heard.
Oh, okay.
This was the first time.
Huh? What?
This is the first time that you've been heard. But Steve says, hey, I've been listening to you guys for a while, never bothered to comment, but Kate's remark about compassion for inmates and providing better diet for them reminds me of Rogan's podcast with cancer researcher Dr. Rhonda Patrick. Dr. Rhonda Patrick is just amazing. We want to have her in the studio one day. She's awesome. She was mentioning that nutrition is so key for behavior that she would like to observe a study in which the released inmates, so inmates that were released, were provided proper nutrition to see how their life after unfolds. And currently, they're released and they soon return. So they commit some other crime, go back to prison. Daniel Amen's book, Magnificent Mind at Any Age, also seconds that. The awesome but too frequent podcast History Repeating Itself also highlighted TBI from football. What is TBI?
Traumatic brain.
Oh, yeah.
Injury.
Traumatic brain injury from football. Look at you.
I'm on it. PE, TBI.
All these, I think a lot of acronyms today. From football, and briefly correlated it to violent behavioral changes. They also mentioned that a Yale researcher, I think Dorothy Lewis, published a study in which she found that death row inmates, 96% had some sort of brain injury prior to committing the crime. Isn't that wild? Also, the same number for homeless also had brain injury. Nutrition and mental health is everything. It's contemplating similar moves.
And brain injury could also be, heavy metals in the brain, like assault on the brain. It doesn't have to be like you got smacked in the head and or in a car accident. I mean, brain injury could be a lot of different things.
Well, also, too, something that people don't think about is that brain injury can also happen as a result of small, seemingly innocuous traumatic injuries that aren't traumatic, like playing soccer when you're a kid.
Right.
The ball hit your head. That causes...
or you.
There's like a layer in between your brain and your skull that is like this sinuous material that keeps your brain from shifting and from hitting the sides of your skull.
Right.
And so
kind of suspends it and
it suspends it and it keeps it in place. And people that have that sort of that material depleted, and so your brain can hit and you can start getting concussions and things like that. But Dr. Rhonda Patrick's really
It's funny what we did as kids, though. I mean, I've mentioned this in the show before. You and your friends used to make yourself faint. You guys would like cut off your supply on the side of your necks and just hold them and cause yourself to pass out at lunchtime on the playground. You guys thought it was so funny. And I'm like, man, you don't know what you're doing as a kid,
As a kid, you're so stupid. You're out to lunch, aren't you?
You're so out to lunch.
Yeah, we would make ourselves pass out.
Oh, gosh.
How dumb was that?
I know that's not considered a brain injury, but you never know what kind of oxygen you're depriving yourself from.
Yeah. I want to find out about your article because I'm really interested in that because I think it's pretty cool. All right, we're going to take a little break and we'll be right back. Kate and I have had our sauna for about a year now, I'd say, when we first got it from Phil Wilson. And it's an incredible machine. We use ours about every single day. Kate sits in about 20 minutes and I sit in there about for a half hour. Usually watch a documentary and it's extremely relaxing. It's really, really incredible machine. And if you go to extremelealthradio.com/sauna, you can learn all about it. We did an entire hour interview with Phil Wilson. You can check that out. You can look at the pictures of us with it. You can watch videos on that page. It helps you to sleep really, really well. You can lose a lot of weight with it. You can burn, I think, around 600 calories in about 20 minutes or so. It improves your skin, increases circulation all over the body, and circulation is critical for your health. You can prevent and reverse diseases with it. If you have a cold or flu, it's incredible. It heats you down to the core. It heats 4 to 6 inches inside your body, so it's really incredible. And a lot of people use it for cancer as well. So if you have any kind of incurable, quote, disease, you can use it for that. And Dr. Shade is the foremost authority on detoxification. And listen to what he says about it.
How do I detoxify from plastics? I mean, you guys are using a sauna, and what does a sauna do for us? A sauna is great. It's moving a number of different toxins. Remember, we talked about the mice that if you put PCBs in there, then that made the mercury all that much worse. And sweating moves out a lot of plastics, volatiles, fat-based toxins. It's really good at moving those out, sweating those out. So that's how you're getting those out, and those are contributing to this synergistic soup inside the body. And so that's why they're good, is they're taking out a bunch of the different things in the soup.
And Daniel Vitalis, one of our favorite guests. What do you have to say about the sauna?
When you go into the sauna, like a far infrared sauna like you discussed, your body goes into a deep relaxation mode, and your sympathetic nervous system shuts down and your parasympathetic nervous system turns on. And when that's active, that's the nervous system, part of your nervous system that's active when you meditate. That becomes active, and your detoxification pathways open up wide. Why is this important? It's important because when you go running and you sweat, you're not necessarily eliminating very much toxicity from your body. But when you sweat in the sauna, you eliminate a lot of toxicity from your body. So sweating in a relaxed state is how we eliminate. The other thing is that what's wonderful about the sauna is that it puts you in a parasympathetic nervous system response, like as if you were meditating. So it's almost a hack. It's like a trick to get yourself into a meditative, relaxed state, to decompress stress, to reverse the effects of stress, and to get your body eliminating deep, deep toxicity that's stored in your body fat because it can come out in the oils of your skin. So I think, sauna is one of the most crucial detoxification, really health practices that we could take on, especially in this era of heavy toxicity, particularly fat-soluble toxins.
This sauna is really, really great. They offer payment plans because if you buy it through PayPal, it's 100% secure. You don't even need a PayPal account. I think you could do a payment plan through PayPal. It's got low EMF electromagnetic fields coming off of it. It's portable, so that means you don't have to knock down a wall in your house. You can just move it from room to room. It sets up in about 2 to 5 minutes. It's super easy to clean. All you got to do is wipe it down when you're done and wipe the neck down. And it produces energy and heat inside very, very evenly throughout the whole machine. All you have to do is sit in there for about 15 minutes a day. And the great thing I like about it too is it requires zero preheating. So you turn it on and you're starting to get warm and you're starting to detoxify with that far infrared light almost immediately. So it's really great. It comes with a 1-year warranty. It's about $990 plus $25 shipping. And that's really, really a good deal because if you look at most of the regular saunas out there, they are in the $2,000 to $4,000 range. So this is really, really a good deal. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/sauna.
All free shows, all the time on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
Well, little Maggie is over in the corner trying to nest. She has, she's going through her doggy. What is she going through right now?
Her heat cycle.
Her heat cycle.
She's very sensitive.
Not her moon cycle.
I don't know what cycle it is, but it ain't good. This dog's crazy.
Her udders have grown beyond imaginable.
She's the Pam Anderson of wiener dogs.
Her udders are hanging down to the ground.
It's not good.
Her boyfriend Arthur loves it.
He loves it. She's got a good-looking rack going on.
Good-looking rack of udders hanging down to the ground.
In the doggy world. She looks like a cow.
And she becomes very possessive and violent. How should we say? Less than desirable.
Yeah. I'm ready to... Well, you were ready to put her on Craigslist.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
I could have put her on Extreme Health Radio and see if anybody would like to have her. She's been very weird lately.
She has not been a good dog in the last month.
Very nesty. I'm curious if any of you have female dogs that are...
not fixed.
Not fixed. If they become very strange during their cycles.
Not fixed and on a raw diet. It makes her extra primal, so we're thinking maybe the combo, making her a little whacked out.
A little whacked out.
Yeah, we'd love to hear if you have a crazy dog.
Yeah.
Crazy Dog Owners Unite. That should be a new one.
I love that.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask you about that article that you wrote because we put that up a couple days ago, right?
Oh, yes.
For those that don't know, Kate is writing a daily blog.
Can you believe it?
Documenting her health journey in a very unique and open and honest way, where she talks about her struggles, ups and downs. So you're really going to get to know her a lot more than through other blogs and through the show. very personal. So you wrote about this the other day.
Thank you. I try to be candid. There's times when I feel like I'm so tired and not that great of articles, but that's also part of my being candid, just saying sometimes it's life and you're not going to, write the best article every time. It's just getting it out and saying, here's my day. Nothing very eventful happened today, but yeah, I wrote one a couple days ago that I don't know. Why did it stick out to you?
Well, I just thought it was really interesting the way you talked about, being on Extreme Health Radio is the first time that you felt truly heard in your life. And I just thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, you know what brought up me writing that a couple nights ago was that I've been telling all my clients in the past week that I'm getting ready to wind down with hair. And one of my clients said, "Oh my gosh, I'm reeling from this information. I've been coming to you for 12 years, and basically I don't know what your favorite color or favorite flower is." And she kind of wanted to do something nice for me when she comes in for her last appointment and didn't know a darn thing about what my likes were and dislikes and who I really was. And that spoke volumes. So I actually just started writing and outflowed this article from me about how it was kind of sad to me. Not like I feel like I need to, be heard and people need to just listen to what I have to say all day while I'm doing their hair, but just sort of a give and take. But it's been the complete opposite. I think my whole life, not even just in my hairstyling career, where I've been talked at and people don't listen to what I have to say, and I've been very squashed down, in my opinion. And
it was so funny a while back. You showed me this video.
I was going to say the family DVDs.
The family DVDs of when you were a little child.
We had these films on reels that my dad had put onto DVDs for us kids for Christmas one year, and we were going through them.
And it was really funny because you have an older sister, and during the video, you guys were kind of playing to the camera as little girls would do, and every time you started talking, she would come in, sort of push you to the side and sort of overtake the vision of the camera.
Yeah.
She would just sort of overtake.
Fuzzy microphone, she'd grab it and be like, "Get out of the way," and like push me out of the way.
Yeah. And I just thought it's a funny little thing, but I just found with you, it's very indicative of the type of life that sort of emanated from that.
Right.
Where you're being talked at, advice given to without you asking for it, never feeling like you're heard, people not asking you anything about your life. That happens a lot to people.
It happens a lot to people. And I think that's what's so strange about it is people writing me emails or posting stuff on Facebook wanting to know my opinion on stuff. And that's so odd to me, or people liking and sharing my articles that I write for my blog. And it's refreshing, but it's odd because I'm still I don't want it to be all about me. I'm still, I want to have a give and take friendship with people, whether it's online or whether it's my friends or family in my life. But, it's just an odd thing to be heard, and it feels really empowering, really.
Because we all want to be heard, don't we?
We all want to be heard. I think that's the point.
We all want to be able to express ourselves in a way that's safe and comfortable, in a way that really resonates with who we are at our true core. We all want to be able to share our opinions and our ideas and have them be validated, and be strong in them, and to be able to not necessarily care what friends and family think. And formulate ideas and opinions about life and the world and how we live life based on our own unique makeup.
It is a rough journey, though, isn't it?
People don't want you to do that.
No, and putting yourself out like we are. I mean, not only was I never heard and felt that way, I put myself out in a way that now I'm opening myself to all the criticism in the world, also encouragement, but you also get the other end of the spectrum. You get the opposite end of the coin where people are like, judging you for what you say or giving you advice, or, there's that too. But I still take working through being heard any day versus not being heard at all. But I mean, I'm putting myself out for my family to judge me if they want. And, it's being heard, but it's on my own terms now. It's how I choose to put myself out to be heard. It's an odd thing. I mean, we all want validation. We all want to be valued and, just feel like you're important.
But that's a fine line too, because at the same time, you want to be able to exist without needing the validation of others or the opinion of others, and so there's a fine line of a stroke to the ego with all that stuff. But then also being comfortable and saying, it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, says, or does about me, because none of that really is my has nothing to do with me anyway. I can't control that. And so there's a balance between, being strong in who you are and also wanting people to listen to you,
right.
And so, I think that there's a balance there, and I'm the same way. The younger brother, I'm exactly the same way, where the older brother was seemingly the smart person in the family, even though I don't think he's any smarter than I am. I don't.
I don't either.
I think we all just know different things, and we have an expertise and experiential knowledge that comes from living life in a certain way, and we all know different information. And I'm the same way. Like people would always defer to him because he somehow knew more information, or that information he didn't even know it. He just was able to
regurgitate it.
Yeah,
right.
Regurgitate it.
Right.
And so that to me is completely unimpressive to me.
Yeah.
Because that doesn't really mean anything.
Right.
But feeling heard, I'm so cool that you feel like that with this show.
Yeah,
it's awesome, isn't it?
It's a very cool platform for sure. It's for me. It's not even for, the validation's nice and the encouragement's really nice, but I don't need that for once. I'm like, oh, this is what I'm putting out and whatever, yeah. This is what I feel led to talk about. And other people have talked at me my whole life, and I'm exposed to what you can't choose to even turn them off sometimes. But with this, somebody can choose to turn me off. They don't have to listen to the show.
Right.
That's fine. I don't care. It's not about them.
Right.
It's just about me being free for once in my life to have a little bit of the control of how much I share and how I share it. And it sounds funky, but just so nice to just know you're talking into this thing and somebody might care to listen. It's cool. But if not, I just got to talk. I got to say my opinion on something for once.
Fully express who you are.
Yeah.
Didn't you have some clients that come in and they just assume they may know you from 10 or 12 years ago or 14 years ago when you first started doing hair. And because you're a conscious and aware person, you are on a journey of growth, and so you become different. You change your ideas when new information comes in. You're open to new ideas, and you start changing. And most people aren't like that,
right?
And these people come in, and they still expect you, don't they?
They say such bold statements about. I'm talking touchy things: politics, religion, the stuff that everybody says you're not supposed to talk to. Not supposed to. Go there.
Yeah, and they'll say stuff to you, right?
When they say it to you and it's factual and they just wait for you to agree with it. Because they look at you like I know who you were all these years, and I've changed so much, but they still think you're totally the same. So they're basically preaching something at you and then waiting for you
confirmation.
And sometimes I can't give that in my right, for who I am now and what I believe in my right mind, I can't agree with that. And so people don't know what to do with it. And then they worry about you, especially religious people in the community. They think maybe you've backslidden or fallen, or you don't believe in God, or you're not a Christian, or, it's like, that's my gosh, crazy, just because, and I'm talking this is just an example. One of my guys who I've had for pretty much the whole 15 years, maybe 13 out of the 15 years. And he goes to a local church that I think has some issues, like all churches do, because nowhere's perfect. But this pastor, every holiday season, decides that it's his place to talk about Santa and how anyone who basically does Santa with their children is lying to them, and you're not being held accountable. You're being held accountable before God to lying to your children, and
really,
making it. And so, as a pastor, in my opinion, that's not your place to tell your congregation how they run their family. That's between them and God, and whatever. And at some point it becomes about, we're all lying to ourselves on a daily basis about something anyway. Right. So anyway, when do you take away childhood fun versus when is it considered lying to your children? Anyway, This man just totally was like, oh, and Pastor blank, so and so. How he gives all these scriptures backing up how, children are supposed to be raised from, parents are supposed to raise their children in truth and honesty and blah, blah, blah. And then it talks about how evil Santa is. And he looks at me and he's just waiting for me to agree. Like, oh my gosh, he wants me to say, oh, I can't believe that. That's so right on. That's so, I didn't. I was like, well, I don't know if that's his place. And then I thought, why do I have to get into this in this setting? Why is he putting me in this position?
If you were at a corporate job, sitting in a cubicle doing your work, most likely you'd never come into, and if you did, it would be like during a lunch break or something where you could get out of it.
Right.
You'd never be forced to have these conversations.
Well, and probably not by your employer who pays you.
Right.
These people are my bread and butter. They're paying me.
They're like, all of them are your boss.
Right. They all are. I mean, you're working for them. They're the one giving you the money, and they put you in the weirdest positions. And this 15 years of feeling like that, I am not going to miss. Like,
so when you said to him, you kind of disagreed with him, what did he say? What was his reaction?
Well, I didn't know how it was going to go, but thank God my next client walked in. So I was kind of, peace out. I'm moving on to the next person.
Kind of broke up
Stay by
bit.
the bell.
You see a little Zach Morris walk in.
Right. With his brick-sized cell phone.
Screech.
The thing is, Screech, nice one. The thing is, though, it just, it's like your health. Everything's so personal and so individualized. Like,
right.
Why do people go there? Why?
Well, yeah, it's so
they believe they're
odd.
just standing up for truth, and they're so strong in their convictions. But it's just, that's not. There's a time and a place, maybe in some settings, but that's definitely not it. And it makes me feel not only heard but bullied around in my job. I felt really bullied into a corner. I felt pushed down, and like, being in your early 20s when you're doing hair, you don't know what weighs up, and I was so weak and people pleasing that I just went along with,
everything.
I agreed. I was whoever anybody wanted me to be.
Wow.
All these years, I feel like just in the last few, I've actually developed a backbone and
chameleon.
Have some opinions. If people really want to know, I'll tell you. But yeah, exactly. I've chameleoned myself into exactly who people wanted me to be. And
like
finally,
this is true politician kind of.
Totally. You have to be the perfect diplomat in order to survive in that industry or anything, unfortunately, where there's money.
So wild. Because you think about that too. I mean, this probably happens in a lot of different jobs, but people have to do that, like salespeople. What if you're trying to close a sale with a potential customer, and the customer, and you really want this account, you really want to make the sale, but the customer's talking about all this stuff that you disagree with or you don't like or whatever it is. Doesn't really matter what it is. At what point do you draw the line and say your true beliefs when it's actually costing you money? Because if you were to make those potential clients of yours, your hairstylist clients, angry, they'll just never come back again.
Of course.
So you lose money unless you're. So it's like this balance of being true to yourself, but then also, keeping it so that you sort of keep the peace, but you don't lie to yourself and agree with everything, whatever they say either. Wow, what a hard thing. You're not going to miss that.
I'm not going to miss that at all. Last night when I was doing dishes, I thought, I think my end of the year post for my Feel Good blog is going to be a letter to myself, to my younger self, about what I would have done different, not in a regretting way, but in order to remember going forward, these are the things that I wish I would have been more aware of, and so that I can not get so beat up along the way in the future.
So it would be like a message to your younger self.
Yeah, about what I would have stood up for and how I would have behaved different, and the things I've learned, and just almost write it to my younger self as advice for the future me.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Sounds kind of funny, but I'm like, there's so many things I've learned. It hasn't all been a waste at all.
That's so cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, because I'm sure I'll write some reflection on the past year, and we'll talk on the show about the things that have happened within the last year that are so amazing. But part of me also just wants to reflect on my life and go, wow, in my 15 years of hairstyling, this is what I've learned, and this is what I would have done different, and this is who I've become versus who I was, and just kind of
reflect on that. Yeah. Yeah, really interesting stuff.
Well, I'm glad you feel heard too, because I feel like you've kind of lived in the shadow of the wings of your older brother too. Yeah,
and
people who've gone out. You have a bunch of friends who are super successful in business, and they've lived these, pretty doesn't seem like they've had a lot of financial challenges. And I know that's something looking at, especially being a man, looking at your friends going, this seems to be pretty a non-issue for a bunch of people around you. And they're going, but they're also unfortunately selling their souls to corporate jobs. And I know that has to be hard though, and take its toll when you're like so struggling to live a dream, and you feel like sometimes it doesn't make any sense. And yet you feel heard for the first time, and you committed, and you knew that this is what you were supposed to do, and you did it, and you feel validated and heard in it. And even though you don't need that, even if no one listened to your show, you know that you've done the right thing by, for once, sticking to something that didn't make a lot of money.
Right.
In order to grow as a person, and to watch what happens through this has just been phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think there's this some strange sense of holding on to what it is you're supposed to do, no matter what winds of change are coming around you. Like if a hurricane comes and you hold on to a tree and you're just holding on for dear life. That's sort of how I am with this show, and I know that it's what I'm supposed to be doing. And compared to friends that are in the business world and making all this money and they're very successful and live in huge big houses and things. It's a constant ego check too, because obviously we want to make enough to live and to be able to continue the show, because ultimately the whole thing is designed to propel and to grow the show so we can help more people.
Right.
But yeah, it's wild when you have these friends that are just focused on money and that kind of thing. And it's really like, it shows me that we're not focused on that, which
right. I love keeping that in check, because that's what we never wanted this to be about. You know what? I still have to check my ego on a daily basis or bi-weekly basis whenever I go into the salon, because people go, "Oh, what are you going to do?" I get a lot of people
ask you this.
"Oh yeah, what are you going to do?" Like, and these are some people who didn't know anything about Extreme Health Radio because I hadn't chosen to share it with them.
But some people are.
Some people know and some people don't. And I say, this is what I'm going to do. Basically, I'm stepping back from hair and this is what's going to happen. And they always say, what are you going to do with all your time? Are you going to go get another job? Are you doing a different? And I'm like, well, and then the people who know, I say, well, I'm pretty much doing full time with our radio show. And they're like, oh. And they're like pleasantly surprised, but I still get the feeling that they think it's this rinky dink little website that, they don't understand because they're never going to take the time to go on and listen to it. And I'm not saying we're this like world renowned show or anything, but we know that we're making a difference. And the people we've talked to, conversations on and off air have been so powerful. I feel like this life, even if we were to die tomorrow, everything we've done has been more meaningful than ever before in the last 2 years or 2.5 years since we started this thing. And no one has a clue. And they're more like, oh, you're going to eat bonbons? You're just going to do some yoga? You're going to hang out? And I'm like, oh man, people, and I have to watch my ego, because I'm like, oh, if you only knew the kind of stuff we're involved in is so awesome. But then,
look at the person that we met yesterday, the listener that we met.
Oh my gosh, Tom!
Tell people about that.
Oh my gosh, I wrote about that in my blog last night.
I'll post that today.
Our friend Tom, who's from Hawaii and he's a listener of our show, happened to be at Dr. Bergman's. He flew from Hawaii to go in and see Dr. Bergman because of finding out about him through our show. And so you and I were in the back room and I was getting some scans read to me that I had the week prior from Dr. DeWitt. And Minnie, one of the amazing staff women up front, comes in and she says, hey, I don't mean to interrupt, but I just want to tell you guys a quick story. And she proceeds to tell us that we have a listener, Tom, who found Dr. Bergman through us. And when they had asked him originally how he was referred, he said through Extreme Health Radio. And she goes, oh, from Justin and Kate. And he's like, yeah. And she's like, they're back there right now. And he's like, no way. And he really wanted to, meet us. And so face to face, we got to walk out and hug this man. I mean, I hugged Tom a couple times. You shook his hand and we just talked to him. And it was one of those things where you get all the validation in the world. Yeah. It's like, this is the face of our listener. This is like not just an email or a chat, as great as those things are. And you feel like the people. We actually got to like physically touch one of our listeners and to see how he was, I guess, supposedly what he shared with us touched on so many levels from our work.
With his wife, yeah.
Going through some stuff. And I mean, he was at one point, I think we had a moment like where the three of us just connected and, I got a little choked up and it looked like he was trying to find words at some point to talk about the health changes that have occurred in their life due to information. And, it's the most rewarding thing in the world.
Yeah. And I don't know, I just feel like when you really know what you're doing and you really are on the path of doing something big in the world, it doesn't have to be big on a grand scale, but it's big in terms of, being in alignment with what you're doing. And even if that is just some, fixing somebody's car as a mechanic.
Sure. Cleaning someone's house.
And having these connections with people that only you can have a connection with. And when you truly are resonating at the same frequency as your mission, then you start to feel like things start happening for you. And it's just an amazing thing,
Oh, such an amazing feeling.
And I just wish more people would do that kind of thing. And, that's part of what this show is about, is to empower us to feel better so that we can figure out what we want to do. And then once we figure out what we want to do, how we can contribute to the world, then we can start doing those things and then have our own little unique impacts on the world. It's really cool.
Well, I feel like the world is crying out for what is being withheld from it. That's how I feel. Like we're a bunch of people just like ants walking around, getting stuff done, but not truly living our purpose. And I feel like the world's almost crying out for it, honestly.
Right.
Like if we all found that somebody's purpose doesn't look the same as our purpose. My purpose is totally even different from yours, even though we're aligned a lot of ways.
Right.
We have different gifts and different serving opportunities. And, some people, I think about all the Hay House interviews I've listened to, and they're so motivating. It's like, yeah, some people, like, I'm so thankful for the women that come clean our salon every week and make it so sparkly and shiny. And they seem to really love cleaning and organizing. And it's like, thank God there's people who are good at that, because I suck at it. I don't enjoy it. And if that's what they feel like they're best suited for, and serving back and giving back and making a living doing it, then that's great. Or if you're a parent, I feel like a lot of women that I talk to are like, oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. And I think that's the biggest joke. It's like, oh my gosh, the most amazing, I think, opportunity given to anyone is to be able to be responsible to raise another amazing human being. Gosh, if that's your purpose, that is amazing.
What if you're raising the next Martin Luther King?
Right.
What if you're you don't know
What if
it?
You're not, though?
Yeah,
What if you're just raising a great kid to go out and impact the world? Who knows? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
It's like there was a book I read years ago called Man's Search for Meaning, written by Viktor Frankl.
Oh, right.
And he was one of the people that survived the Holocaust. And the first half of the book is his experiences on a mental level, because having gone through the Holocaust, the starving, the almost being taken away and being put into an incinerator, all the random chances that the things could have gone wrong, where if he had stayed a little bit extra in the dining hall, that group of people was taken away and burned, and all of these things that the suffer and the torture that he went through. And he was talking about, no matter what the outside circumstances and how bad it got, no one could ever determine for him how he thought about things or how he felt about things. So no matter what they did to him, they couldn't take that away from him. They could take everything else away from him. They could take food away from him, shelter. They could take the temperature away from him, make it really cold, and do all these things, but they could never take those two things away from him: what he thought about things and how he felt about things.
Wow.
And so the second half of the book, the first half describes his experiences in these prison camps, and the second half of the book is something that he came up with as a way of overcoming that whole situation, and he called it logotherapy. And at one point, logotherapy. And at one point in the book, he talks about how a lot of people are struggling to find what it is that they're supposed to do in life. What is my purpose? What is my calling? And what am I passionate about? And things like this. And he was almost correlating it to a situation where it's as if life is asking you, saying, hey, we need something that needs to be done. I've given you gifts and talents, and instead of asking it from the reverse, what can I get out of life? It's asking, life is asking you, we need you for a reason.
Oh, wow.
And
are you going to show up?
Are you going to show up?
Are you going to give?
Yeah.
Wow.
And those reasons most of the time correlate to your interests and your desires and things. And so, really powerful book. It's called Man's Search for Meaning.
That might be some light Christmas reading for me during the break.
Yeah, right?
No, I've been wanting to read that, though. It sounds phenomenal. So many of our guests mentioned him, actually.
I think I gave it away.
I know you did. We were in one of those fitful rages of spring cleaning. But
I think it was after the Tisha Morris interview.
It totally was.
We went through that whole thing where it's getting rid of everything.
Oh, yeah. Should we keep it? Are we going to need this? No, get rid of it.
Get rid of it. I already read it.
I swear, if it wasn't bolted down or alive, it would be out.
It would be out.
But that's okay. If we're meant to have it, we'll get it back.
You know what, though, too? You never know where that book has gone. Maybe someone else read it and it changed their life.
Right.
Because a lot of people that that commit suicide have this mindset where it's all focused on them. But this logotherapy is sort of like the opposite, where life is requiring something of you and it needs you. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. So there's a greater purpose. And it's like when people commit suicide, that it's that whole sort of myopic. They can only see what's right in front of them. And so maybe someone who is ready to commit suicide found that book, You
know what? Totally.
So you never know.
I love that idea, though, of life needs you. We always think we're trying to hold on to life and make life wrap around our plan. It's like, no. The fact that we made it out of all those sperm, we're one out of how many? Millions?
It's millions, isn't it?
4 million. Something crazy, maybe even more than that. But it's like, wow, life, God chose us, however you want to look at it. Like, life is calling out to you and it needs you. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
There's something that needs to be discovered and opened if you just show up for life in an open way, I think.
And you're honest with yourself.
Yes. I think that's getting real. And once you can do that, then I think things start to unfold.
It's weird because life needs you, but then it doesn't need you too. Because like if all of us that are listening to this right now were just all of a sudden drop dead, life would still go on.
Right.
But there's a specific reason why we're still all alive. And so it does in a sense need us, and being aware of that and being open to that and trying to stay true to what that is and then act upon it seems like something that would be really beneficial for us to stay here on earth, to feel good, to help people, Because it's weird. Life does need us, but then it kind of doesn't.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. It's both ways.
Maybe it needs you for the time that you're, I don't know. I guess it changes too. That's hard.
Yeah.
Like life, your purpose can change throughout life and your focus change. It's funny. I mean, I guess it's can be summed up maybe with just jumping into the river and the flow of life and letting it take you and just diving in and being free in that, whatever that looks like. So yeah, I mean, I guess there's a yin and a yang to everything. I say life needs us, but maybe.
Well, that's probably, it's
maybe
true.
That's true at times. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it is true. It does need us because we wouldn't be here otherwise. None of us would be here. So there's something that we're all here for. Shane says in the chat room, how do you get to the point where you're choosing every feeling you experience?
I just saw that. That's so interesting. How do you get to the point where you're choosing every feeling you experience? Wow.
I think that there's a good analogy that people talk about, and I think it really is true, where you are sort of a generator of everything that emanates in your life. And when I say emanates, you think what?
The juice weasel. What was that, Jim Carrey? Is that
give me the juice,
In Living
Gordy.
Color skit?
It emanates,
It
Gordy.
emanates. About life emanating from the vegetables,
It emanates, Gordy.
Was that In Living Color?
Yeah, we'll put
that
a
was
link to that.
great.
It's a funny little video.
That's the best.
But essentially, we're generators of our own emotions, and we generate. See, people think that we are, we're happy or we're not, or we're feeling sad or we're not, or feeling motivated and excited or we're not, or we're feeling. But really, all of these things are feelings that we consciously choose to generate, and you can generate them. I have not gotten there yet, but you can choose to generate, just like a power plant doesn't have power, it generates power, right? Like it doesn't, it creates power from nothing. And in the same way, we're that way too. We don't intrinsically, we might have happiness within us, but we have to generate that on a minute by minute, on a moment by moment basis. And that's the part of the spiritual path, I think, of life, is to really own your emotions. And when you see people reacting to things, that's exactly what they're doing. They're reacting somebody else's scripts.
Wow.
Someone else has this push button script that they don't like about themselves, so they act that way. And then when you hear it, you see a CNN article or you see something and you react that. You're reacting someone else's script. So you're generating all this negativity from watching someone else play a script that they've subconsciously learned. And so that's what it's like. You got to step out of all that and start determining, I think, your own emotions, and start saying, I am just going to be happy. And I've had to do that a lot of times, and a lot of times it when I'm conscious and aware, it works amazing. And you can actually be happy if you start. It's like when you look in the mirror and you're in the bathroom by yourself and you just choose to smile. You feel some sort of like endorphin. When I jump on the rebounder, sometimes I'll do that because when you smile, especially when you're on a rebounder, because you get those like endorphins going.
Yeah, it's magical.
You start feeling something different when you smile. And it's a powerful thing. And so as you feel something different, your mood changes just a little bit. And then you keep doing it and it changes a little bit more. Then all of a sudden, instead of being in a horrible mood, you're in an okay mood. And then you might turn on the TV or you might get a phone call of something that comes in from the outside of someone giving you some good news. And all of a sudden you're in a good mood. And then all of a sudden, if you continue that, you can choose to be someone who is a happy person based on the snowball effect where you can do little things where you make you feel better and you can choose everything you're trying to experience, even though at the moment you're not feeling that. Like we walk outside here and we've got a helicopter above our head. We've got a trash truck. We've got
pit bulls off leashes.
Pit bulls off leashes charging at our dog and all kinds of outside circumstances that go nuts, right? And you can choose to react to those. And that's one of the things that I'm doing, working on in myself, is choosing not to react to that kind of stuff. And it's a journey. I mean, shoot, we're not even close.
No, we're not even close. So you had a situation a couple weeks ago where...
Did I have a meltdown? I probably did.
You had a meltdown in the park like I did.
Did I?
Yeah, with the dogs. The lady walking her dog.
Oh, yeah.
Off leashes.
Yeah.
But it's, you might want to just recap that story if you want, but I'm thinking, how do you find the balance between not bottling things up because emotionally things get stored in your body, as well as being able to choose how you view that experience or what you want to feel? I mean, it's such a fine, everything's just such a journey.
Well, I think that's where forgiveness comes in. That's why the whole thing of self-care is forgiving yourself for acting like a maniac sometimes. You know, we all know this stuff because we read, we're involved with personal development and eating healthy, vibrant foods and personal quest and journey of being a better person. So we all know this stuff, but then we drive down the street and we go nuts when someone does something, right?
I know.
And so part of the forgiveness thing is first being aware of the fact that you're acting like a complete nut job, you know, and just being aware of that. That's the step number one. And hopefully you can catch yourself at the very beginning of your starting to act upset, right?
Yeah. But man, we're all human.
Yeah, that's part of the fun of life,
you know,
right?
Yeah, you're right. Peace, grace and love for ourselves, because sometimes we're jackasses, you know? Like, we just blow it. So
being where you have the most work to do is after you go through an intense experience like that and you realize you went through 20 minutes of it before you were being a jerk. Right. Then it's like, okay, wow, it took me 20 minutes to realize I was being a real jerk there.
Right. But the next time it might take you like 5 seconds. I think the more that you kind of tune into that, it's like any kind of a practice. The more you go to yoga, the faster you'll be able to get into the mode. The more you meditate, the easier we'll be able to slip into that. The more you detox, I think it opens pathways easier. Yeah. I feel like it's the same thing with what you're talking about.
Well, it's all, I mean, like the stuff you were just talking about, it's more physical, but it's all emotional and spiritual anyway.
That's all, right.
I mean, it's a physical thing, cleansing and detox, but it's opening up spiritual, emotional pathways that are the root cause anyway.
Right. Right.
And so it's a real balance. So if you can figure out quickly that you're acting like a jerk, sometimes you just need to act like a jerk though. Yeah. And just let it out.
I know.
You know, sometimes that needs to happen. But then if you don't want that to happen, and you do act, you just kind of flip off the handle.
Right.
And then just being forgiving of yourself and saying, it's okay. Okay. Like, I'm human. These things happen. I don't want it to happen again. And that's when you start getting into practices. Because a lot of times people say, if I'm having a heart attack, what can I do in the moment? Well, the most powerful thing you can do for a heart attack in the moment is stuff that you're doing when you're not having a heart attack. It's like going to the gym. You grow your muscle when you're not in the gym.
Right.
You go to the gym, you break down your muscle.
Right.
So
you rebuild after.
Yeah, you rebuild after. So a lot of this stuff is the practices you put into your life during the time that you are not going through these types of circumstances. So like meditation and prayer, taking time out, reading, sitting in a bath, doing personal care practices like a cleanse or a sauna, rebounder.
Yeah.
Things like that are gonna help you when the tough times come. Those things are gonna help you stay centered.
Tool belt.
It's like
you
your
like
tool
that?
belt.
I just like made a motion looking at my tool belt. The
Like
more tools you get.
Tim the Tool Man.
Tim the
Taylor.
Tool. Man, we're busting out. Say by the Bell. Tool time.
Tool time.
In Living Color.
Speaking of tool time, that goes back to your Pamela Anderson reference.
What?
We were talking about her boobs with Maggie.
Oh gosh.
She was on. She was on Tool Time.
I was talking about her boobs. That doesn't sound good. That's where she was on.
She was
what was that show called? With Tim Allen.
Tim Allen.
What is that called? Oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking.
Well, that's a good thing. We don't need that in our memory anyway.
Yeah. Anybody? Bueller?
Bueller. Anyway, we're starting to ramble.
Yeah. Actually, it's probably time to wrap up here.
Yeah, it's time to wrap up. Anyway, I want to share one quick thing.
Okay.
There is an article that I'm going to share on this show page. What, 352?
352.
352. There's a Chinese plant compound that wipes out cancer in 40 days.
What?
Says new research. I'll just leave it at that. There's a really interesting article that I'll post. I won't even put it in the chat room. I'll put it up on the page that is this podcast page. So if you're listening to this driving around, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/352, and we'll put links to everything we talked about. How about that?
That sounds good. Leave a little teaser.
Yeah.
And thank you, Isby. Home improvement.
Yeah, look at that home improvement.
Good Lord.
There's some real knowledge that I should have in my brain.
And
but instead, I have that. Why do I
Don't
have
we
that?
all? The things that stick with you.
Zach Morris. And,
I know. Why we even remember his name like he was a friend. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Urkel.
Growing up on TV, I tell you.
Whole different world, isn't it? Yes, I think that'd be great to post that to our site. And I can't wait till next Friday because I have the most interesting article, I thought, about one mom's take on autism, which I really wanted to get to today, but it's going to have to wait. And I'm actually glad I have a week to think about it because it was kind of gnarly and I just need to process it a little bit more.
One mom's take on autism?
On raising a kid with autism.
Okay, after we go off the air, I want to find out about that.
Yeah. I'll talk about that next Friday so we can make note of that.
All right.
Cool.
Is that about it?
You got it.
We didn't even talk about, we got a lot of stuff to talk about next Friday. Man, this 2 hours just flies. Look at that.
I would keep going, but this is holiday season, and so I'm going to be back at the salon one of those days.
Are you going back to the salon?
It's okay. A couple more weeks and I'm out.
Baby Kate, check it out. 1 week is the 26th. 1 week will be the day after Christmas.
Yay!
And then, so 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 days till you officially end your career of 15 years.
Officially, and I think I'm only working about 5 of those days. I usually only work Saturdays, but I'm kind of finagling some people in to fit them in before the holidays. So, whoa, unreal, but I'm excited. It's huge, so everybody keep me in your prayers.
Yes, this is a monumental thing to have us fully supported by Extreme Health Radio. Can you believe it?
I can't. Well, yeah, I can.
I can, yeah.
I can. It's been a dream for a long time.
It has been a massive dream of ours. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. We really appreciate it. Is there anything else we want to share?
If anyone's interested in adopting our dog,
oh yes,
hit us up in a private email.
We'll put her on online.
Poor Maggie. No, I don't know.
I did want to let everyone know too that Bellicon is still having their sale, but you can get $25 off their regular rebounder and then $50 off a premium rebounder.
What's the premium?
The premium, I think, is the foldable legs. That's the one we have, and I think there's some kind of additional model, like a newer model that they have, $50 off. So if you go to extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon, you'll see the coupon codes on that page.
Okay.
If you want to go through our link and support us, and you can get that $50 off. And I think you can still, if you get it before Christmas, I think until I forget, there's a guaranteed ship date. It'll say on the website where you can actually get it before Christmas.
Okay, so they still haul deliveries.
Yeah, extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon. And I would highly recommend just saving for something like that. I use it every day. It's so great.
I use it. I didn't do it last night and I feel it. I'm bummed.
Yeah. And I want to let everyone know too, really quickly, we've been loading up on vitamin C because both of us have felt like a little bit the flu's been going around.
Yeah, but man,
That stuff's been helping.
Dude, every time I start to feel like I get just a little tinge of something, I take one of those lipospheric vitamin Live On Labs, and let me tell you, just even one a day. I never, like, by the next day I'm fine, and then 2 days later I might feel like I'm getting a little touch of something. I take one, gone. So I'm just going to OD on those all. And the powder, we even have just a vitamin C powder from the health food store. Everybody stay healthy. And you know what I really want to add in this time of year is more of the olive leaf extract from East Park Research.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff is
amazing.
You know what?
Yeah,
it's
we need
going
to
on the
order
list.
some more
We're
of
going to
that.
order some of that today.
Yeah.
Olive leaf extract.
Olive leaf extract.
I laugh at Shane in the chat room.
What's that?
When we were joking about putting Maggie on Craigslist, he says, too long of a bottom. I put, yep, that is so agreed. Long bottom is quite an issue. And then I said, instead of naming our Maggie Brown long bottom, we should have named her Maggie short-tempered.
Maggie short-tempered.
Because that's more like it.
Oh, my gosh. That's so true. Behavioral training we need for her.
Yeah, we do.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much. If you want to get that vitamin C, it's extremehealthradio.com/vitamin C, all one word. And you can look at the lipospheric vitamin C that we're taking and just love it a lot. So anyway, we appreciate all your support and your listenership, and we appreciate it so much.
We love you guys, and I guess we won't see you till the day after Christmas, next Friday. So hopefully people have some time off and can join us in the chat room. It was a lot of fun today, and we wish you guys the merriest Christmas, and we're looking forward to hanging out again before the new year. But we really love you guys, and just thanks for everything you mean to us in our lives. It's been very rich, full year for us. So
yes, and we're going to be doing
our hearts are full.
Our interview shows on Monday are going to go away for a couple months, and we're going to be doing just our Friday shows at 9 a.m. on Friday because we're working on some projects and some things going on behind the scenes that we're really excited about. But in order to do that, we really need to focus a lot of our time and energy into that. So we apologize for the shows sort of going away for a while. We're going to go back to the regular schedule of at least 2 shows per week in a couple months. But we will be doing our weekly Friday shows. So we appreciate all of your listenership and join. Tell your friends to come join, and it's fun with the chat room.
Yeah, you guys make it.
It's really fun. So
it's the highlight of my Friday.
2 hours, 6 minutes, Baby Kate.
Whoa, I don't think it's a record, but it's close to it, eh?
Getting close. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us.
Merry Christmas, and we will catch you guys on the next episode.
Hey, everybody, this is Josie, Justin's mum. Don't tell him, but I know he would absolutely be really happy if you would sign up to his free weekly newsletter. And don't forget to share this with all your friends. This is the buzzing bumblebee signing off.
That's so good.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if